Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander Tactical, looking at another piece of tactical gear from one of my favourite manufacturers, Agilite, and this is the brand new, newly released Mag-Release Dump Pouch. Now, as the name suggests, or at least the latter part of it, this is a dump pouch that you can store your magazines in. It's very simple to deploy, but whilst out and about, having tested this whilst doing a full day skirmishing. By the way, if you're watching, Max and Kate and Chris, hi. It was an awesome weekend, last weekend, skirmishing with you guys, and yeah, it was nice to meet you. I look forward to skirmishing again in the future. That was a little side kind of note, but if you're watching, Max, I hope you're well, buddy. So yes, tested this last weekend, so it's more of a first impressions kind of piece of content. However, I'm happy to say that I'm very impressed with this. So, mag dump pouches, the reason that we use these is instead of having to re-index your magazine, put it back into your plate carrier, or if you're doing it from your battle belt, you can dump the pouch. You can dump it in a pouch that sits on your battle belt. Here is my Agilite magnetics battle belt, and you can just drop them there. You can go for your next mag so that you've always got your mags, because you don't just keep losing your magazines. And it works very similar to how a historical kind of legacy mag pouch, dump pouch works. So it's kind of set up the way that it is here. This is so that you can stow this away. So instead of having something that's just flopping around all day, then you can stow this away like this. There are two methods in which you can deploy this. So as this is set up right now, which isn't really set up, I'm just holding this, you have a tab on the front here, you pull on this, and then it opens out. So, the bits that are in here. Now, as far as your materials are concerned, with Agilite, they really do make sure that all of the materials are the best materials that they can source. It's made from a tough ballistics material, but in areas of high wear, they've made sure that they've added additional to that. So on the front here, this is designed to be reasonably malleable. So when this is on your belt, you push in the sides like that so you can make it nice and narrow, roll it up from the bottom. I've left the tab on the inside bit, so what you need to do is make sure you have this tab on there, pull that out, roll it up like that so that when you're in there, there's some hook and loop here on the front that you push that down on there and that stays in place. There's a lot of flies today, so apologies for the erratic wafting. But yes, so when this is out, you can tuck this back on the inside here. Now, the material is made from the same material that the rest of this is, apart from this front lip here. So if I put this, I'm going to call this the front mainly because this is the outside that faces away from you. So on this front lip section here at the front, because you're probably going to have to kind of index, because this doesn't always sit directly on your side, it might just be a little bit further round. Muscle memory, you'll put it in, you'll make sure it's kind of within that right area and pass it in, and that's where you've got this more kind of toughened ballistic material on the front. But the rest of this is still nice and tough. As far as kind of advertising or the logo on here, it's just a small logo here on the side, and bizarrely it kind of folds in the opposite way. Usually these fold this way so that you can see that it says Agilite on it, but the way that the stitching is done on this, it actually hides the fact that it said Agilite. On the back you have more of the tougher material. Now, the reason that they've done the tougher material on here is a lot of others, because they're all made from the same material all the way round, you can get that situation where it's kind of flopped, or at least you've tried to deploy this and it's just kind of gone meh like that and not come out properly. So allowing this to have more of a kind of tougher material that's a little bit more rigid, make sure that every single time it pops all the way down. It also, just from running around, having this tougher material here on the front, rather than it wanting to stay closed, with you running around, it kind of allows gravity to pull this open to make sure that it always has a wider mouth for you to be able to get your empty magazines into. If it is you're concerned about having this so that it's too large and you're worried about magazines from falling out of here, then there is a pull cord bungee on the front here. Now, I will say with this pull cord bungee, because of the ballistics material that's around the side of here, you just have to give it, so pull it in, but then just give it a bit of a ruffle for a second, and that will make sure that the bungee distributes this material all the way around more evenly. When you first do it, it kind of bunches at the front. It's not a positive, it's not a negative, again, like I tend to say, it's just more of an observation. But similarly, when you unpull it, just give it a bit of a pull like that. That will make sure that all of this side material is spread evenly over them, and it makes sure that the mouth stays open as well. If this is something that you just don't want, the way in which that they've done this, so on the inside here you have the track that the bungee goes through, but then on the inside, hopefully you'll be able to see here that here's 2 knots. So if it is in the future that you bungee, because bungee always fails, it's just one of those things that happens. Now I will say they do use very good bungee, but you know, it just happens whilst you're out and about, it gets caught on stuff. So you can take this out and then you can rethread your bungee back through here, or if it is a situation where you're not bothered, you want it to be open, you want it to make sure that you have the largest mouth possible so that you can put your magazines into there with as little effort as possible, then you can completely take that bungee out of there and yeah, you can dump them in. The other bit that I do like about this, so last weekend whilst I was out, it rained an awful lot. These Cordura style materials, one, they have a DWR coating on the outside to make sure that they don't get too wet, but they do have some slight hydrostatic qualities, so that you can find that water can collect in some of these. With this one, they have this air mesh here on the bottom, so I didn't have any issues with water collecting in this. If you're in a particularly arid area of the world, where I know Agilite are, then that will mean that all of your dust, your debris, your sand, all of that grit and grime that maybe gets into there will just come out from the bottom. There is an extra feature on here, which is this bit here at the back, which is another bungee system. So the way that I've deployed this, or the way that I've shown you thus far, is using the tab on the top, but they have this so that you can set this up with a magazine on the inside and it will deploy with a magazine, and that's what we'll have a look at next. But before we do, so attaching this onto your belt here on the back is the normal ladder style PALS webbing that fits onto a molly system. The way that you can set this up is, if you don't want to use this with the mag deploy, you can just set it up like this and it will act like a traditional mag pouch. If you want to though, you can completely remove this and you can thread in. So I will do it in a second off camera because it's a bit of a faff, and I had to take it off earlier, which was a bit of a faff anyway. But if you've got one of these pincer magazines, or any other magazine, that is, if you want to attach this to a different belt and use a magazine that you always swear by, then you can attach this to the back of this, which we will have a look at now. Okay, now I have the pincer magazine removed from a belt. I will show you the full setup in a second, but I think it'd be useful to be able to show it like this. So that was that flap. That was the flap that kind of came on the front, so when you wanted to deploy this, you lifted it up and it opened out. And this is the PALS, or this is the molly system on the back that attaches to the PALS webbing. With most magazine pouches, you have the same on the back. So this passes through the back here exactly the same as the other one did. I'm just going to pass this here through the second just to make sure that I can get this to stay in. So the way that you can have this is, when you go to your side, you can dump your pouch or you can dump a magazine. Now this is if it's already been deployed. You can drop your magazine, and as you're lifting back up, take the second one out to be able to reload. So instead of it being a double maneuver where you're trying to find the pouch, drop a magazine, take the other magazine out and then reload, you can do it in one simple action. But the secondary function of this, and why this is called the mag deploy, is, so if I put a magazine in here, let's just seat that in. Now let's get this rolled up as I had it before. So this is on my belt, all rolled up, ready to deploy. That extra bit of bungee here that you had can come up over your magazine. So now what you have is, you have your second spare magazine, so that your first one is emptied. It's all still kind of stowed away neatly like this, And instead now, when I pull this magazine up, there's my magazine. This has now been deployed. I can drop the other magazine that I probably have in the same hand in here, and then I can reload. It's a lot smoother than me doing it like that, but it's a very unique system. I haven't seen anybody do anything like this, and I think that's one of the big things for Agilite, is the fact that they do think outside of the box for this sort of stuff. I will say though, for that first time when you deploy this, there's a different there's a different manual operation to it. I'm used to dump, pull, reload, whereas with this, when you have the magazine in your hand that's already empty, you have to take that magazine out, and that will then open this up to then dump your empty magazine in to then reload. It's only the first time you do it though, because if you imagine this is now open, you've got your empty mag in there, you've got one on your chest, when times are easy, you can put that magazine back in there and it will just keep working. It did take me a couple of hours just to get used to it, and I was purposely, because like I say, you have to, every single time you then have to, right, okay, so you put another one in, you then have to roll it back up, and then you then have to put that back over so that you've got this kind of setup. You'd never do that, but I wanted to test it to see what would happen if I did keep doing that. But pull, drop, reload, and then you're good. But then after that, it's exactly the same as you'd normally do. Drop it in, pull it out, reload, and you're good to go. Okay, so we're on. We've got it on the belt. I've got it kind of roughly where I would usually, well, where I had it before. I will say, because of the width of it, what I've done is I would usually have my rifle magazine right next to my pistol mags here. I have them a little bit further around like this because they get in the way whilst I'm running, and this is, you know, it's just the right area, just kind of there. Is it the ilium? That's the bone there? Anyway. So have this a little bit further around just to have a gap in there so that when this opens, there's more volume or there's more area for it to open out into. Putting them onto your belt, it's the same procedure, you know, it's a pain in the arse, but if it's hard to get on, it's hard to get off. I think if anybody says that they like putting stuff onto belts and molle stuff, they're probably a masochist, definitely a masochist, with some psychopathic tendencies, but you know, it is what it is. We're all you boo. Anyway, so we're on. I forgot to bring out a second mag, so we'll just use pistol mags for now. But so the situation is, I've just emptied. I need to reload. Come down to reload. I've got it so that it's ready to deploy. Now what normally I would do is I would dump this magazine and then I would pull the other one. But instead what I'm doing is I'm pulling the other one, which deploys, dumping the magazine that's empty, and then reloading. It's an extra step and it kind of feels different, but what I would say is, what I did was, before we went out, is I had that on here, I had this on so that it was all good, and I just deployed it, put my mag straight back in, and then didn't have any issues after that. I'm not even saying I had issues, it's just a different way of getting your magazine and kind of getting them out. As I mentioned, for the first hour of the day, I kept re-rolling this back up just to see, and you do kind of get used to it. I was fiddling around then mainly because it's a different shaped magazine, but having the two kind of dropping one, or pulling, dropping, and then coming out to reload, you kind of get used to it after a while, and you know, it is what it is. But for me, the ideal was having this in, opening it out, putting the mag back in so that it's then fully deployed, and then spending the rest of the day skirmishing, no issues whatsoever. The setup of it though, the whole system of it though, having that magazine there, because you come in, you dump, as you're dumping you lift the other one, and that's your loaded magazine out of the same pouch. Because it's separate, this is here, but then you've got that there, is genius. I can't understand why more companies haven't done this, and in fact I guarantee if you see other companies doing this from now on, they've just stolen the idea from Agilite. As I mentioned, I haven't seen this anywhere else. Someone go, well, actually in 1978 FN came up with a similar belt. It's the first time I've seen it. Dump, rip the other one, reload, you're good to go. Very, very cool system. So there you go. So there you have it. I think as an addition to their magnetics belt, it fits in perfectly. Clearly it's designed to work within this ecosystem, but if you have another rigid belt like this, then there's no reason why this can't be used on a different belt. You can build it into whatever setup that you have. I've just realized I've done these the wrong way around, because I haven't made any content on this belt yet, but because I used this arrived 10 days ago and I used this 6 days ago, it just reminded me to do this. So hopefully I will bring my review out on the magnetics belt. I'll get this reviewed in the next couple of weeks. But yes, as far as the Mag-Release Dump Pouch is concerned, it gets a double thumbs up from here on Moorlander Tactical. Now, full disclosure, this was sent to me by Agilite. I have a great relationship with them, the people there. They are very good people. So all they ask is for just some good, honest content, which is hopefully what you've got here today. I'll leave some of their links below so that you can see where you can pick one of these up. I've just realised, I forgot to mention, so this comes in several different colours. I think there is black. This is the Ranger Green. They definitely do it in multicam. They've got other lines which I think they've got some, well, they do kind of specialist ones. They've got a grey one as well. I think at the time of filming it's just available in those two colours and multicam, but I'm sure as this builds and it grows, then they'll be available in other colours as well. But yes, of course, sorry, getting back to where I was, I'll leave all of those links below so that you can see more from Agilite and the other gear that they do. I've reviewed several pieces of content, so I'll also leave some of those links so that you can see those too. I'll leave some of my social media links so that you can see more from me here on Moorlander Tactical, and my sister channel, which is Moorlander EDC, where we look at more kind of everyday gears and items that are just designed to help you with daily challenges. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay tactical. I just did it again. I did it again. Stood there talking for 30 seconds. Just, oh, it was beautiful. It was poetry in motion, the stuff that I was talking about. And then the camera turned off because I hadn't hit record, and it turns off after 30 seconds because I'm a fucking bellend. Now, where were we, dickhead? Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this is Moorlander Tactical. Out and about, you idiot, you freaking tit. Mag-Release, it's the Mag-Release Dump Pouch. The Mag-Release Dump Pouch. I got Dump Pouch Mag-Release. Mag-Release Dump Pouch. I think I rattled on a little bit too much about the fact that you have to pull one out to put the other one in. I hope it didn't come across as it was some sort of negative. It's not. It's just an observation. You just have to change ever so slightly the way, for that first time that you're deploying it, the way that you do it. And like I said, I just did that for the first hour just to see if it was a pain, if it was just a faff. But then it dawned on me, why would you do that every single time? You wouldn't, because that would just be daft. I was going to say something else then. But anyway, you just deploy it, pop it out, pull your mag back in, and then, you know, you're good for the rest of the day. It's an observation. An observation. I'm an observant person. Anyway. This will be coming out on Friday. It's Tactical Friday. We always release content on Fridays. Well, not every Friday, but hope you've had a good week. The weekend is officially here, and you can now have a drink. Well, I mean, some of you may have started drinking at lunch, but it is what it is.